Hey folks, what's up? It's myself, Antonio Pomares, aka the Hunt Group Leak, and as always with me, I have the illustrious writer, creator, Star Wars aficionado, and one of the best people around, Robert Jeffrey, and we're going to be talking about our top 10 comfort reads. Are you ready, Robert?
I'm ready to go.
Then, as they say in the vernacular, let's go! What's up, folks? So it's that time of year, you know what I mean? People like just have like their comfort watches, You sit at home and you binge something all day. I know for me, it was Law and Order SVU on USA. Awesome. But I started thinking about when I was talking to Robert, I said, comfort reads, you got them? He said, yeah, I got a whole list. Then let's run it. Go ahead, Robert. Start off right, brother.
So I'm going to start my list off by talking about a book or a series called Queen and Country. So Queen and Country, there we go. I have to go into the shelf. Queen and Country is a series about I'd say a covert operative. They call them in London a minder, and she works for MI6. So I think that's their equivalent of our CIA. And it follows the missions or adventures of Tara Chase. And the really cool thing about this book is that the series is that it was written post 9/11. And so Greg Rucka brings into like all of the real world political intrigue, the various nuances of the war on terror. And then also it's just like this very kind of gray and at times very red look inside the the machinations or the machinations of what that world is like. So it's less James Bond and more, I'd say, a little bit of Tom Clancy, but it's more serious than that. But a lot of talking heads, because you get to see how the politics work with this world of espionage. But when the action hits, it hits hard. So I think I call it a balance of Jason Bourne meets like I say political intrigue of Tom Clancy, but also like a little bit of West Wing, except set in Britain. So definitely something I love. I love Rucka's writing, and this is how I actually got introduced to Greg Rucka. He's one of my favorite writers. But I think that if you're looking for something that's not tights and fights, and you want something that's it's a bit gritty, this is definitely one to check out. And Tara Chase is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. After reading the series.
That might be another list that we have to pop up. I'm not going to say anything, but there's always an idea. I remember you talking about this one, and I kept forgetting about it. And now that you've reminded me, I might have to add this to my list, my ever-growing eternal list, which is not a problem at all. So next up for me, I got to say, Kickstarter has been an amazing thing for everyone as far as comics go. There's a lot of stuff out there. One of the comics I was so lucky to find was Worlds Away. This is from Damien Becton. I actually love this comic. It's kind of a mix of, I want to say Voltron and possibly Power Rangers with a little Lost in Space vibe to it. A mother and daughter are trying to not just get off of this alien world that they've crashed on, but also trying to kind of deal with each other as they have this antagonistic relationship going. Meanwhile, you start seeing some of the backstory of this comic of her father and how he sacrificed himself so that they both could get out of and escape the ship and be safe. There's a healthy mix of sci-fi, definite action, supernatural magic, but also there's this relationship of this mother and daughter who both love each other, but they have two different ways of saying it. The mother more of a militaristic kind of mind, a warrior soldier mindset, and being tough on her daughter so she can survive, but that's her way of showing her love. And the daughter just saying, I just want you to say that you love me, that you might give me that attention. But she's like, we can't do it right now. We're on this planet. We got to get off this planet. This is what we need to focus on, deal with this. The tension is palpable between them, but also when the situation gets to it, they both know that they have to work together in order to get off of this planet. I was definitely a fan of issue 1, and then when issue 2 came out, I reread issue 1, became even more of a fan. When issue 3 came out, read issue 1 and 2 again, became even more of a fan. So that's when I know it's a nice, comfortable feeling, and I love that in a comic. So yes, this is self-published by him, Worlds Away. There's actually a trade of it now where it is issues 1 through 3 or 1 through 4. I'm trying to remember. Like I said, I've read it so many damn times, I'm getting it confused. But it's one of my favorites. Absolutely love it. If you have the chance, please go and check out World Away from Damian Becton. And he has just a crazy incredible crew of people that is working on this title.
Yeah, very good book.
What do you got next, Robert?
So for me, next, I want to make sure I have what you have pulled up. Sorry.
No worries.
You pull up the next book and I can tell you.
Well, it's one of our favorite ones because it deals with one of the best characters ever, Joe.
Joe, and okay, so Far Sector. Okay, yeah. I was just making sure. So, Far Sector live. We're doing this live, folks. But
I'm saying,
yeah, Far Sector is. I think we talked about it on here before.
Yes.
You know, and I don't know if it's at length. We might need to dedicate an entire episode to that and get Takia on here.
Just a whole season. What are you talking about? An episode, that's season?
No, we do like issue by issue breakdown. But Far Sector is it's basic tagline: murder mystery in space. You know, and we follow Joe. Always mispronounce her name. Joe Sojourner, Joe Moline. And the last name always gets me. But she's a member of the Green Lantern Corps. If you're comic book heads, Green Lantern Corps is like this group of intergalactic police or peace protectors, however you want to call them. And she is assigned to this far-flung planet, in her sector of space. And she's assigned to solve a murder that's happened for like the first time in like hundreds or however many years on this planet. So I don't want to get too far into kind of what happens, but it's one of those things where she's the only Green Lantern in her sector of space. She has a background as a police officer, so she's bringing all of these skills into this new environment to solve the type of crime that hasn't happened for a while. And in the midst of that, there's a lot of I think there's a current theme with some of the stuff that I'm reading or suggesting today is like this political intrigue, things happening, and it's not as basic as like bodies dropping, so I think that if you're a fan of the sci-fi and fantasy and the world building, of N.K. Jemisin, who's the writer, this is a perfect story for you. If you love Green Lantern, definitely worth checking out. The Green Lantern mythos, and the art by Jamal Campbell is just beautiful. He's kicking butt with DC right now. So this is what, for me, it's my favorite Green Lantern story of all time. And I know that's sacrilegious to the Hal pals, but for me, this worked for me on a variety of levels that I wasn't expecting, and it was a very pleasant surprise. So it's definitely one of my comfort reads, and I got like 4 copies of this book floating around my house. So
yeah, this is one of the best. I never actually thought about the fact that she's a cop, so she's actually perfect to be a Green Lantern. I never even thought about that fact. I never thought about how, I think she's like the first one who was actually a police officer to be a Lantern.
Yeah, as far as within the Earth contingent, I think so.
Yeah, because John Stewart is he was an architect, but he's a Marine.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be possibly second. Amazing stuff. Yeah, this is one of the best comics. I mean, we have talked about it. It's actually, I have a list on Comixology, and my collection is actually called Comfort Reads.
Yeah,
and that's in there. I want to actually get the new like smaller digest version of it.
Yeah,
I honestly do want to get. I actually got my cousin to buy it because, yeah, this is one of the best comics out there, and Jemison's first foray into comics knocked out the park along with Campbell.
Yep, home run.
She understood the assignment where some other writers did not in their first foray into comics. No shade, Marvel. No shade. No shit, no shit.
You see, I drank my water.
I'm saying I didn't drink nothing. But what I do want to drink is I need some cold water myself, because one of my favorite comics is Something is Killing the Children. This is one of the best, most horrific and scary comics I can possibly think of. This is out of Boom Studios.
Mhm.
Absolutely love it. Basically, this is a story of Erica Slaughter, and she is a monster hunter. Think in the terms of Buffy, but way darker and much more mature.
Mm.
She doesn't have the habit. She doesn't have the a Scooby Gang with her or anything like that. It's just her, because she's one of the Black Masks. When you get deeper into the story of Something is Killing the Children, and you go into the House of Slaughter and the Book of Butcher and these spin-off tales, they tell you that there's this huge world. That is inhabited by these hunters, and they have different masks for different jobs. In this story, we start with Erica as she goes into the town of Archer's Peak, I believe, to find out what is killing the children. If you are sensitive at all to any type of horrific events happening to children, the title will tell you, do not read this book. I'm going to be honest with you, just don't. But it's an incredible read. There's dark humor, which you all know that I truly enjoy. The action is fast-paced and ridiculous. Tinian has a habit when he writes, and I see there's a child involved in the story, I go, oh God, no, please. James, chill, man. You got to chill. What are you going to do to this kid? What are you going to do? But he does it in such a way where you feel for this child. You're anticipating something to happen to them, and you care about the child as well as the adult characters in that child's life, which mean a lot to me. If you can make me on the first page care, and I'm already on the first page, I'm already sweating bullets, you have got me. And it's amazing. This was the first foray into the Slaughterverse, I think they're calling it now, which actually makes sense. You find about the different, there are different types of monsters. There's even in one of the books, I want to say the Book of Butcher and the Book of Slaughter, it almost gives you like a source book as you're reading the comic of different types of monsters, how to kill them, where they come from, how the Order of St. George even started. One of the most in-depth books I could possibly think of. You just mentioned Far Sector. I want to say on par as far as world building is going to be Something is Killing the Children. They both are neck and neck with the story is just so deep and rich. Look, this is so rich. Scrooge McDuck couldn't swim through it. Okay, that's how rich this is. And yes, that it was a niche joke, and some of you probably don't get it, and that's fine. It's cool. It doesn't matter. One of my favorite picks. Something is Killing the Children, and also by default, going to the entire world of it. One of the best comics out there.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
You got to remind me of a comic I haven't read in years, and I need to go back to it, which is what I'm probably gonna. I just need to find the copy that I have, which is going to be awesome though.
So that was the same thing that happened for me, because I was looking for like my hard copies around here, but
yes, somewhere
in the crates. Anyways, call back, or I don't know. Anyways, it's Prodigal, and I'm gonna make the story as short as possible. When I was in college and I was reading comics, I was reading like a lot of serious stuff. Like, I think Watchmen was like a top of the list of, I was going through that phase of, and actually mommy probably like a lot of like Alan Moore and other, more serious stuff. And I know that there were fun comics out there. I'm never going to say like, everything was in the industry was just so serious, but I wasn't reading that stuff. And the book that I read that made me feel joy and excitement and just, that comic book storytelling could be fun was Prodigal. I think the full name is Prodigal, Egg of First Light.
Yes.
And it was the first book or anything of Geoffrey Thorne that I read, but then also him paired with, I think his name is Todd Harris, the artist on the series. I think the tagline for this is, or at least the pitch, is moonlighting meets Indiana Jones. And it tells the story of the group. The two are Jacinto and Lennox, and they're called retrieval specialists, and they're hired to get things of like fantastic things of note in like the most spectacular, like action-packed and filled ways as possible. This book was so cool. it exudes coolness out of it. I love the interaction between both of the main characters. Harris has a knack for just drawing like high stakes action, cinematic, and like I said, it hit. And for me, this was also during a time when I was trying to find Black writers who were writing the stuff that I wanted to do, like just the fun action filled storytelling. And Jeff Thorne just knocked it out of the park. And he's a name that definitely you should look up as far as if you're looking for great comics. The same for Todd Harris. I know he's worked on films as far as in storyboards and other comic books, but Prodigal Egg of the First Light was a series that hit on a lot of levels for me. And for me, it's a comfort read because it's just so damn fun. And it was something that I was missing when I was reading comic books. And it was a fun action book written by people of color. So it's like, it just hits a lot of, great notes for me. So I wish that they would bring it back, but this one is a personal one for me.
I'm going to mirror everything you said. Yes. When I was like trying to look for, when I was really getting into the realm of like indie Black creators, and this book came up. I forgot who I first saw it or read from. I don't know. I was like, oh, I got to check this out. And I got a copy of it and I was blown away. It was so much fun. And it was Black folks doing cool things. There wasn't a message of like 400 years. And not that we don't have a hard story, but sometimes you just want to see us doing cool stuff. Yes. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And between the banter, which is awesome, and Geoffrey Thorne is perfect at it, but also doing this action and creative with the art is dynamic. I love the fact that I think his thing was he was a man who couldn't be beaten.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I was like, well, I want to see this.
Yeah.
And the action was on point, witty banter, which is fun, and it made me realize, like, whenever I watch something that I know that Geoffrey Thorne has been a part of, whether it's a comic or it's something in TV,
mm-hmm.
I can kind of pinpoint it and go, yeah, that's it right there. I could have totally seen this been a series on TNT, because I believe, did Geoffrey work on Leverage?
Yeah.
That's why, because you could see the interactions there.
Mm-hmm.
I could totally have seen this on there, and it would have been awesome. Yeah, so thank you for reminding me of this. I need to go get this, read it, and love it once again. Something else that I'm going to love reading all over again, and I'll do it again and again, is Noble. This is out of Catalyst Prime. We knew what's coming, folks. Come on. If you know me, you knew this one was coming up. You know what I mean? Don't even play silly with this. Noble, which is out of Catalyst Prime. Catalyst Prime was this universe that was created, this universe of comics that was created for Lion Forge Comics, where they had all these people of color doing incredible things, and superheroes with flaws and characteristics that were real life. Noble was their flagship superhero. And they had the most beautiful Black power couple out there. No, I'm not talking about Black Panther and Storm, because that one has had problematic stuff all the way. This is David and Astrid Powell. David ends up as an astronaut who goes into space to try to save the world from this meteor that is hurtling towards Earth, and ends up in this horrible accident where the meteor crashes. It gives people powers. He becomes one of the most powerful telekinetics on the planet, but he ends up getting amnesia. Astrid, in the beginning of the comic, is shown to be this wife who she's crying and she's sobbing and she wants to find out what's going on, what have you. I'm not going to tell you the rest, but there's this flip of a 180 in that first comic that I said, wait, hold on. I read the comic about 5 times before the second one came out, because I was like, wait, when did it switch? That's what made me go. And it's no surprise that it was Brandon Thomas. I've talked about him before. He's one of my favorite writers out there. Just has this incredible way of doing exposition without making it exposition.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And then I want to say it was Robinson on art for the first few issues. I think maybe the first second arc, did this incredible thing. And also one of the first issues, one of the variants was by John Cassaday. That was my first John Cassaday piece. The most expensive comic I've ever paid for. But I looked at the art and I said, yeah, I'm totally going to get that. It was one of the first comics. Actually, yeah, it was the first comic I ever pre-ordered and I'd ever put on a pull list. So thank you very much, John Cassaday. You are sorely missed, sir. Truly. This is a comic that I love, one of the best superhero comics, and also ties into the fact that when I came out of the hospital, of being in there for about 2 weeks, I was very sick, almost didn't make it, came out. I couldn't read or anything for the first few days out of the hospital. I couldn't read when I was in the hospital. And Noble had been on a hiatus. When I got out of the hospital, it actually came out the week before. So I got to continue to read it. It was the first thing I read when I got out of the hospital. So right then and there, Noble has a place with me. One of the best comics out there, bottom line, bar none. Yes.
It's a great book. It's we've sung the praises of the book before on here, and we will continue to sing the praises of it. But yeah,
always and forever. But this is one of the this one threw me through a loop. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay. Then I read it and I said, now I know why everybody loves it so much.
So there, we like Batman for various reasons. And there are so many different iterations of Batman, which I appreciate. The version of Batman that I always fall behind is like the crime family or the crime drama Batman. And for me, Batman The Long Halloween, and by extension, I think the sequel is a Dark Victory.
Yes,
Dark Victory. But Batman The Long Halloween is a murder mystery set within the Batman universe. It has a year one type of vibe, when Batman is first starting out, and he is tasked with solving a series of murders that are themed or taking place during different holidays of the year. So each issue focuses on a holiday within Gotham City. And the other thing that's really cool about the series is that it focuses on the Falcone family, which, I guess to date this episode is playing huge on that TV show called The Penguin. And there's something about the crime family aspect of the Batman or the Gotham City universe that has always just been interesting to me, that kind of butting heads with the Cape Crusader, and seeing the interaction with, Batman essentially meets the Godfather, a type of setup, was just fascinating to me. And this series also, or this trade, ushers in the rise of the Freaks. So the Freaks being his, the Jokers, the Two-Faces, the Penguins, and Poison Ivies, and so forth, that push out the crime families as being the majority stakeholders in the Gotham City crime world. So all of that is mixed in, including this murder mystery, including more revelations of the Wayne family, and it creates this really, really one of my favorite Batman story of all time, Batman The Long Halloween. I had a chance to meet Tim Sale years before he passed away, to kind of sing my praises of this, and I turned into a fanboy at the Dragon Con, and he was very appreciative of it. But his artwork in this, Jeff Loeb is the writer, Tim Sale is the artist, and it's just so good. Really good writing, matched up with excellent moody art. It's definitely, and stylized, it's worth checking out.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can say. I sat down to read this before the animated movie came out. I was like, okay, I'll read a little bit today. I'll read a little bit tomorrow. Next thing I knew, it was 8:00 at night, and I read the whole thing, and I was like, holy cow, it gripped me. That's how you know a comic has got you, and I love it. That was a great choice, Robert. Another comic that got me is a comic called Diary of a Mad Black Werewolf. This is from This is from Micheline Hess. She wrote and did the art for this book. She's one of my favorite people, one of the funniest people online. If you haven't had the pleasure of interacting with her online, then that's your fault. I don't also know what to tell you. The thing that makes this book so great, and this was actually my comic of the year, the thing that made this book so great is it was actually from prompts for oh my god, for Inktober. I couldn't remember the name, but for Inktober. This is the story of a mad black werewolf, a black woman who becomes a werewolf, and how she sees all the injustices out there of the cops, of the men out there who are predators and attacking women, assaulting them, and she ends up going after them. And what Michelin does is she has this very dark, humorous side where she adds into it, and her artwork almost looks like very cartoonish, which I think pulls you in. But then you see that this is a very dark story of retribution, revenge, and stop effing around because you're gonna find out. This was an incredible read. I loved the black and white touches. Michelin's art, like I said, even though it looks very cartoonish, it looks like it might be very childish, still conveyed this very serious tone, all while still wearing a smirk underneath the fangs and the fur. Absolutely a favorite of mine. Michelin, chef's kiss on this one.
Yeah.
I'd love another story like this if possible. Maybe a sequel. I don't know, but I'm waiting for it. So yeah, Diary of a Mad Black Werewolf. I love black women as werewolves. I love black women in general, but I love black women as werewolves. Any type of like supernatural figures going after, like the predators out there. This one definitely had me. Outstanding work. And now this one is a classic. I don't even know how to even top this one, brother.
Another one I can talk at length about. This one is Icon. I wish that from the beginning it had been Icon and Rocket, because Rocket is a huge part of this first run. But it's Icon, the story of a I don't even know if that's a spoiler now, man.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's been like 57 years. No.
Yeah, he's a superhero who we're in the Dakotaverse, and Milestone Media is the publishing company, put out this book, which was distributed by DC Comics. But the brainchild of DC, Dwayne McDuffie, and I was looking for Indy Bright. This is the first, I think it's like the first 5 or first 6 issues, but that's collected in this trade. But it tells the story of Augustus Freeman, who is, spoiler, he's an alien who, when he crash lands on Earth, is discovered by a woman, a black woman on a slave plantation, and he takes the role of a black baby. So he is this alien who grows up as a black man, and throughout history, and in the 1990s, he is, I guess, discovered, or his secret is discovered, as far as like the fact that he has abilities, by Raquel Evans, and they team up, become this team of Icon and Rocket, and one of my favorite story arcs in comic books, and one of the greatest story arcs in comic books, I feel, starts with this first issue and with this first trade. And this story was hugely influential on me as a comic book writer, as a black comic book writer, because seeing what Milestone did, but specifically with this series, helped me to realize that there was a future with writing comic books. I didn't see a lot of people like myself growing up, when I was growing up, writing comic books. So this was pretty huge. And the story and the artwork, to boot, is just excellent. A lot of social commentary mixed in, about the time, which is still relevant at, in our era. But the way that social commentary was balanced with some like awesome superheroic action and storytelling was perfect. And so for those many reasons, Icon, A Hero's Welcome, or just Icon period, it's one of my comfort reads.
It's a beautiful book. It meant so much to us, and to have those stories come back out, to have the rebirth of Slick, to paraphrase, or the rebirth of Milestone.
Yeah,
this makes it that much better. But go back and watch and read the original run, and it hits a little hard. It really does. So for me, my last one, come on, folks, y'all knew this was coming to. Why are y'all surprised? Stop. There's no twist to this story. But this story, there definitely is a twist to it, and this is excellent. This is out of Skybound, which is an imprint of Image. This is one of my favorite comics out there. There are only 12 issues out. Hopefully, we'll be getting more. Message, hint. This is the story of Spencer Dales and how he is in this family of wizards. And there's a whole collective of wizards that have been kind of guiding people for years, but they've been guiding white people. Now, hold on. This ain't that movie that you thought. This ain't about magical Negroes.
Yeah.
After a certain event happens, Spencer decides that he wants to go against this, and he asks his father, "Will you help me?" And they are one of the powerful 10 families, one of the talented 10th, if you will. And what happens is this story of a father and son going head to head over this this big huge organization that's been protecting that has been protecting certain white people for I think maybe even just like decades or centuries.
Mm-hmm.
There's immense action with the magic, and there's this great art and design. Brandon Thomas, yes, I'm saying his name again, folks. You knew that was going to happen. Stop. Kari Randolph, Emilio Lopez, and Duran Bennett did one of the best jobs in a comic possible. The way they came together was better than Voltron. Nobody could have. They were like the Constructicons.
Yeah.
Bottom line, again, I guess one of the words of this episode is world building. It really ramps up, and this whole world is built from the environment to the character designs. Everything is beautiful, and if you know indie comics, you'll see a couple of your favorite artists or writers in there. I ain't gonna mention no names, but there's a certain black dragon that shows up in the comic, and I was like, "Is that?" Yeah, it is. You see a lot of love towards hip hop as well, which is just incredible. But at the base of this comic, it's about a father and son. Again, the interaction, their tension, and seeing how palpable it was. And sometimes you don't understand what your parent is doing, but once you see the things that they've been through, you go, now I understand why you did it. And it's about their communication, how, again, they weren't communicating to really get to this point. It's heart-rending. There's some really cool humor. There's a lot of love towards black folks, and y'all can see the culture in there.
Yeah.
There's great action, but it just tells the story that gets me every single time. There's even a panel that made my heart break the third time I read it. And I was like, damn, this comic means so much to me. I have collected all the t-shirts that are involved. I have a hoodie for them. I have a mug, and I have the entire first arc. I have every issue, including every variant. That's how much this comic hit me.
Nice.
And that's it. So, folks, those were our choices. But what do you think? Do you have choices for comics that you think are just comfort reads and that always make you feel good every time you read them? There's something new? Let us know. All right. So for myself, I have been Antonio Pomares, the Hungry Bleak. As always, this is Robert Jeffrey, one of the best writers out there. We have mentioned two great writers on this show with the name Jeffrey, spelled differently, but Jeffrey. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying. All right, so y'all have a very good day. Enjoy the rest of it wherever you are, and we'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.